welcome to Lena's Lane. We're back, 10:30 a.m. here on WHPR, and today I have two wonderful, beautiful guests with me, and they're actually father and daughter. And I've actually known these guys for a very long time. But one of the most important things that we're going to talk about today is what Asma Walton, this is Asma, she's brought something very special to Highland Park, and it's something that we needed for a very long time since our library is closed. So, Asma, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, my name is Asma Walton. I graduated from Michigan State with a BFA in art education. I have my master's from NYU in arts politics. The last few years, I've kind of been working in museums, but I've also been trying to figure out how to kind of start my own thing that kind of relates to the arts and what my interests are. Um, yeah, that's kind of the main things about me.
That's great. And tell us about yourself. The dad. He's the creator of this beautiful species here. This is Ishmael Walton.
Yes, hi, my name is Ishmael Walton. I'm native Detroit, been here all of my life. Graduated from Wayne State with my master's in social work. I recently became involved in working in something called social entrepreneurship. Coming with design that's going to probably try to bring a lot of jobs to Detroit involving a jacket that turns into a backpack. So that's the creative side. That's what I'm doing. I'm blessed to have people in my life like Lena and, of course, my daughter inspiring me to continue to push Detroit towards art and the things that we need here. So that's where my focus is at now, trying to make sure we bring some sort of creativity and art back to my city.
Yeah, my city too, Highland Park.
Well, I
We're
consider
not
this
gonna
all.
roll Highland Park into Detroit. But one thing his beautiful daughter did is she brought a visual arts library here in Highland Park. It's at 225 Connecticut Street, and it's called the 48 Hours. What's the name of it?
Complex, the 48-hour complex.
Yes, and I had a chance to visit, and when I'm telling you guys, it's so beautiful, such a great idea. So what she has is she started it as a pop up, right, Asma?
Yes, so right now it exists as a pop-up. I plan to eventually have my own space, and I do want it to be based in Detroit, but I was offered the opportunity to use that space temporarily for a one weekend pop-up, and it went really well. It was actually probably the last weekend that was warm, so people got to be inside, kind of be outside, and just kind of enjoy seeing some of the books. A lot of people did miss out on it, but there will be some more opportunities to see the library in some different spaces in the next coming months.
So how do you get these books, Asma?
So I actually started collecting these books. I actually started this project. So the Black Art Library, I started it in February. Um, and it was, I don't even really remember why I started it or kind of what drove me to do it, but it was just something I wanted to do. So I decided that I would just start buying books. I didn't have a really an end plan for what the project would look like, but I was like, I'm just gonna start collecting the books and we'll see what happens. So I started collecting the books, kind of just buying online just because that's easier for me. So I was looking at a lot of used online bookstores. So I use like Abe Books, Better World Books, eBay, pretty much anywhere that you can find books. And I would just spend a lot of time Google searching and seeing where I could find some of these books. And when COVID hit, I was inside a lot of the time. So it gave me a lot more time to sit and order books and I could just get them sent directly to me. So that's really when my collection started to grow. And I created an Instagram account for the Black Art Library, and that was really the only way that people could see it. So I would take pictures of the books just so people could follow along with me and see what I'm collecting. And the following on that page really started to grow and people were really interested in it, and I also think it had to do with people being indoors. They were in the house and they
Yeah.
were looking for something new, something interesting that they could do, and they were seeing a lot of books that they had never seen before. A lot of art teachers were following the page and just people who loved art in general. And after a few months I started to get donations of books, so people were ordering books off of like an Amazon wish list that I had, but then there were other people that were asking like, "Well, do you have somewhere I can physically send books to you?" So I think one of the first donations I got was I got about maybe 10 or so books that someone mailed me, and they were really, really great books that I wouldn't have been able to find otherwise. They were some really old catalogs from the Studio Museum in Harlem and just some really fantastic books. So donations have become a really great way that I've been getting books as well. I've been getting some things that I wouldn't be able to find otherwise, but other than that, I'm just surfing online and seeing what I can find on my own and try to research what books I don't have, because it's kind of hard to know what books you don't have when
Right.
you don't really know what's out there. So you kind of just have to find them and come across them. Sometimes I find lists that people made online of like, oh, these are the black art books that you need to have. Most of the time I already have them. So
Good.
I'm always kind of looking for different ways, and kind of people are telling me like, oh, you should look into this artist. And if I hear about an artist, I try to find if there are any books on them. And a lot of these artists don't have a lot of books on them. They don't have a lot of exhibition catalogs because they've probably never really been exhibited in a large museum. A lot of the things that I find are really old, and it's kind of the only thing that you can find on them, or they're included in maybe an exhibition catalog that was like a large group show. So you really can't find a lot of stuff on them on their own. So when I do find something, I get really excited, and I kind of right away I have to go and buy it, because if not, I don't know if I'll
Right.
ever come across it again.
Right, and you're building, and that's wonderful. So if you guys want to donate any visual art books to Asma Walton, please send them to 225 Connecticut Street in Highland Park, because she's still growing and she's still. What about children? Is children involved in this a lot?
So I that's kind of one of my interests. So a lot of the books that I actually my favorite books in the collection are the children's books, just because I feel like they have a lot of really great information. They have really great illustrations, and I definitely want children to, when I do have my own physical space, I want it to be somewhere that children do come, because if they kind of learn early on about these artists, that's how we can kind of keep their stories alive and keep some of that information relevant, because a lot of the adults, they don't know about these artists and they don't know
Right.
about these people. But if the children are learning, like they'll, teach other kids, they'll teach their parents, teach whoever they can, and they'll kind of take the information along throughout their life. So I definitely center, like in my mind, want to center children in a lot of this, but not even just children, because everybody can use this
Yes.
information.
Now you guys see this beautiful young lady, how smart and creative and talented she is. I happen to know both her parents. Her mother is also a fashion designer, right, Azza?
Yes.
And her dad, he's been in the art industry forever. He's a dancer. He's also developed this new idea that's just like, wait a minute, let me go back. Ishmael, I just want to say how proud I am of you and Azza for creating such a beautiful young woman right here. I mean, you did such a great job. And it's so important, because right now in our society, music and art has been taken away from our children. I'm sure, being both parents that she has, this has developed her into such this beautiful, blossomed her into this beautiful artist and creature and warm, loving person. When we were kids, Ishmael, we had these kind of opportunities and stuff. How did you say so strong in making it such a point to make her this beautiful artist and creature that she is over here?
It's the blessings from getting all the experiences of loving art, loving music, being able to dance, being able to be a choreographer, being able to continue to have something around her that kept me inspired, to the point where it just kind of trickled down to where she had no other choice but to like see us as people who love things that are creative, things that are made by hands. We made burlap backpacks.
Right,
Our
I
mother
remember.
sewed. We did things that kept art amongst us as individuals, and she benefited from seeing that that's what the root of our relationship was really about, art, because her mother's also a dancer, has a dance
Yes.
degree at Wayne State University.
Mother's
So,
beautiful.
and continuing the art within the family and within our culture is going to give our children life and inspiration to do other things, because the two sides of your brain has to
Right.
be utilized, and you can use the intellectual side to maintain your sociability with the world, But the creative part is the side that gives you an opportunity to expand on thinking about how the world is viewed, like from the trees in Highland Park. It's just so beautiful that Detroit has an opportunity right now to bring art back to a place that should never had art took it away from it. I can't believe that we don't have art in our schools the way we had. You know,
Yes.
it's something has to be done.
Yeah,
Something has to be
actually,
done.
that's why this show is important to me because as a child growing up in Highland Park, I mean, we had the best school system in Michigan in Highland Park, and we had art, we had music, we had dance, we had singing, we had everything here, and I kind of didn't have the easiest childhood, but those were the things that made me who I am today,
Yes.
that molded me and created me into the woman I am. I mean, even after summer vacation, the first thing they would do when we came back from summer vacation is write a story about your summer.
Yes.
Write a story about something you did or something you may have wanted to do in your summer. And I noticed that it's more testing involved with these children as opposed to creativity. And we didn't have that problem as kids.
Yes.
What are you guys doing? I mean, I know what you're doing as far as bringing it to life, but Ish,
We're
let's talk about
trying
that.
to make sure that so we're getting funded by the state. I'm working with a partner. I'm working with someone who works with it's called the Ticket to Work program, and it's mostly dealing with adults, trying to get adults acclimated back into the world after they had a disability. And so we wanted to have those people have opportunity to have arts and craft, to have readings, to have things that's going to inspire them to come back into the world. So we're also trying to connect that with the school system in Detroit. So we're trying to walk into the schools, maybe Jalen Rose Academy, maybe some of these schools, and bring some of these youth onto the floor of creativity. So we're going to make sure we make our design here in Detroit. We're looking for kids to learn how to graphic design, to sew, for websites, and all of those things to help bring this Jackpack out here in Detroit. So I'm really motivated by bringing this product to Detroit because I want to go into the schools and grab some of these kids and tap into their creativity. It may not just be one part of the creativity that they have that we want to tap into. We just want to open it up because
Right.
I went to sewing. I took sewing in high school. It was me and one other guy. I mean, it was a reason why we was like, well, all the girls are in sewing, so we took sewing. But once we got in there, we realized that this was a skill that till today I still have. And I realized if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't be able to even have the idea or the inspiration to make things. So that's another thing that they took from the schools, you know, having the opportunity to go to woodshop, to the sewing classes. All of these things gave me an avenue to keep me from being a part of the things that would have had me locked up or not even here right now. So art is so vital in our lives that, you know, once it's taken away, you're really giving us a straight path to either prison or not being here. So
Yes.
that's how much we need art.
That's how important it is to
It's
me
so
as
important.
well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back so Brother Ishmael can tell us more about his backpack book bag.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. For only $99, you can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
It's time for your company to make the next big step. Hire a knowledgeable, experienced, and connected firm. Mario Morrow and Associates is a trusted media and public relations firm. We understand your vision and your industry. We'll provide strategic marketing, digital and social media, image building, and reputation management. Contact Mario Morrow and Associates, where success rules and results matter. Learn more at mariomorrow.com.
Hi, excuse me, do you have anything for paint?
Straight down that aisle.
All right, thank you.
Young lady, this here's what you need.
Ringmaster?
Ringmaster rubbing oil.
How does it work?
By promoting circulation since 1950. Massage it in for best results.
Ringmaster took care of my back pain.
Ringmaster got rid of my knee pain, too.
Wow, it sounds like I'm late to the party. I'll take one.
Find Ringmaster at CVS, Davis Drugs, and other fine stores.
And we're back on Lena's Lane, and once again, I have my two special guests here, Asma Walton and Ishmael Walton, father and daughter duo, and these guys are like at the top of the charts right now in the art world. And Ishmael happens to have this fabulous creation. It's called a Jack Pack. So Ishmael, tell us about the Jack Pack, because this is very interesting.
Okay, so it's very interesting. I'll tell you how the concept came up. Being in Michigan and being in Detroit, and I know you guys had days where you wore something that you ended up taking off on your way home. So I basically was walking around from school. I had a jacket on, I had my books, and it was hot. It was cold in the morning, it was hot. So I decided to take my jacket off, and I was like, well, I'm carrying these books. So I took the books and dumped it in my jacket, and I tied it around my waist, and then I carried it around my neck, the sleeves I was carrying the books in. So as I was walking, in my mind, I was like, wow, it'll be awesome if I could make a jacket that can convert into a backpack. Now, this was 20 years ago. And so since then, I kept it in my inspirational data file, and I talked to a couple people about the concept. I worked with Maurice Malone from the Hip Hop Shop. I worked with Brother Z Arzel, who's one of the prolific buyers in retail places in Detroit, from Child to Funky Bro, all the stores he had. So he took me to New York, and we made it in Chinatown, the first prototype. It was nicely made. So for years, I held on to it, not having the resources, not having the places that we need in Detroit for manufacturing and design. So I went back and forth to New York, and I always felt like my city should be the place where it was made. So I kind of set back on it, and I was blessed to meet a gentleman named Joe Ferris, who played on Project Runway. I met him down in Fort Field while I was at work, and so we talked, and I asked him, do he think he could, possibly put it together for me, because the visual concept was there. And so he took the product, and amazingly, he came back with this product that you're seeing now in the advertisement. And that gave me the idea that, we're in Detroit, and we have a lot of people who have resources that we just need to connect on. Him being from Project Runway, I never would have met him if I wasn't working at Ford Field. So then when I got home, I was telling people I met someone named Joe Ferris. So Asma's mother, I was like, do you know who he is? He's from Project Runway.
Of course, as I know.
Right, so I was like, okay, so this is a big deal. So right now, we're really trying to get this, made, manufactured, and produced in my city. And, it's very creative. It's a jacket that, can actually be broken down into a backpack, and it could just be the backpack. Also, if you want it to be the jacket and the backpack, you can have the backpack connected onto it. Or you can take the jacket and put the backpack inside of the jacket and cover it with a covering, and it's just a jacket. So for Michigan and people who live here know that weather changes. It's always hot and cold, and some days you don't have on enough, some days you have on too much. It gives you an opportunity to have two things at your disposal. And a lot of young kids that go to school today don't have either. So we figured if we can help a young person out that has a problem, getting school clothes or getting a jacket and a backpack. We can just give them one thing, and in one item they can have both. So it's really my need to cover a need that we have here sometime in the city for warmth and also for having access to having a backpack. So all of those things is product of Detroit, living here in Michigan. So I think everything that's creative that comes from me comes from my environment. So the ecosystem that I live in Detroit, it always is about need and survival. Just like what my daughter is doing to me is something that is a need. So everything that we do as a people in our cities should become something that we are creative about and just do it ourselves, because there is definitely a need for everything that we have to offer for you today. So, and speaking on that, that means that the schools that we have here should open up their doors for art and creativity, for sewing classes and things that are giving kids an opportunity to do things with their hands, skills and tools that they could use, and resources, sewing machines. I know people got sewing machines sitting around that they never use anymore. That we can have, we're trying to get a center to where we can do something called a cottage version, where it's made at home and it's produced at home, and we bring it to a assembly line and we look at it, we check it, we give it the A1 and we move on, or we give it the negative and then we give it back to them to create. So we want that to be a part of our cottage and ideology, is to make it in Detroit in homes by any means necessary. So we're going to try to supply them with machines, and we get money from the state to get industrial machines. But the main thing is just try to get people involved that has sewing skills, that don't sew anymore, that wants to sew, that has machines sitting around, that we could all just come together and make this great product and sell it around the world, because it's definitely a product, in my opinion, that could be used for a lot of things, from mountain climbing, hiking, skateboarding. I have a patent that's coming out where it's going to be a skateboard connected to part of a skateboard assembly to the back of it. A friend of mine, Ali Mayu, is going to help us out with that. So I've dropped his name. So
Right. Yeah, Ali Mayu, yes, we love Ali Mayu. And actually, Wayne State students, if y'all listening to this, I know all you little skateboarders at Wayne State is going to love that too. Right?
Yeah, definitely have the skateboarders in Detroit. We're trying to make them a part of this too, because, they have their own culture too.
Yes.
Yes, it's a skateboard
and
culture.
Speaking of culture, Ishmael, I have a question to ask you, because we're about the same age. I may be a little older. I don't know.
Early 30s.
Right. Yeah. And as far as culture in Detroit, I went to New Orleans, right, and I visited it, and we're both the same, like brothers, French cities, right?
Yeah.
And when I went there, it was like after the Hurricane Katrina and everything, Asma, and it was like real sad for me, because even through a hurricane, amongst the hurricane, they still kept culture, music, art, and just to go there right after the hurricane happened and Katrina happened, and to see that they are so involved. Like, we had music school when we were kids. The families teach the kids music, right? So I was like, we got to step our game up in Detroit, right?
Yes, that's a shame.
Yes.
We're Motown. I know the jazz player, I can't think of his name, in New Orleans that came there. He started a school. And that's what a lot of the NFL teams got behind him. Marcellus.
Yes, Went Marcellus.
Yes. And so, we have Aretha Franklin legacy, Smokey Robinson legacy, all these legacies that we should follow up on, having the training and the opportunity to open up these places. I know it's going to happen, because every day in my life, as I continue to have faith in Detroit, I meet new people.
Yes.
I meet people down at Burt's on Broadway that has gold records, and they're like, well, we don't have those things. But I look at it and say, you know why we don't? It's because it's my responsibility to do it.
Right.
It's my daughter's responsibility to do it,
It's our
because
turn.
no one else is going to do it. We can tell these stories about everyone who else has it, but we haven't been putting in the work in Detroit. Like, everyone knows they have an opportunity to do things, but don't take it to Atlanta, don't take it to Chicago, don't take it nowhere else. Step up in your city and take advantage of the opportunities you have here. Make these things happen for us here. Like, we should not be complaining about anything here in Detroit. We should make it happen for ourselves, because we have all the resources. We have the Motown Museum. You can get inspired just going down there and seeing how that's a house. Mm-hmm. That's a house that basically turned into a music studio that fed the whole world.
Like your house.
So, the concepts that we have here, Detroit is off the water. It's a very spiritually based city. Like she said, we're connected to the French. We have so many things that connect us to the spiritual forces here.
It's Detroit.
Right. And we need to connect with that, because that's the only thing that's going to keep our city reviving on the culture that we have in our souls and our spirits. So, we walk with our heads down sometimes because Detroit always get the negative, Murder City and, all the things that the history has brought from the 70s to the 80s to the drugs that came and cleansed our city, took our city down to the point where now it's, being reborn. And let's not get it twisted. Regentrification is not the horrible thing. It's not the best thing, but it's not so horrible. We should accept all the things that's trying to raise our city up and just make sure you're a part of it. If you're not a part of it, you can't sit back and complain about,
Exactly.
they're coming to my block, taking my block. No, you should be doing something also. Then you won't have to worry about someone taking something. Do it yourself. Cut the grasses in houses that are abandoned. Go clean up
Right.
areas that are right next door to you that
Exactly.
you look at every day, and then instead of waiting for someone to come by it and be like, oh, they done bought it.
Or
No.
complaining about it.
Or complaining.
Or complaining about it.
No.
I'm more of a solution person
Yeah,
anyway.
that's
I
what we
really
should
don't.
be.
I want to give a quick shout out to Bert's Warehouse because Mr. Burt has continuously kept music and jazz
Yes, sir.
alive for us. So he is one person that holds on to our culture here in Detroit. So I just want
That's
to give a
real.
shout out to Bert.
Yes, shout out. That's a great place. I walked in there and didn't realize that there were gold records on the
my
wall.
God.
I didn't know. I was asking one guy. He turned the spinners off, and I put on the OJs because I wanted to hear another song.
You dang
and then,
yourself.
and then I had. Well, I grew up with four or five brothers that are like in their 60s, 70s, so I had music around me all the time. And he told me, he said, "Well, I can't believe you turned off my Temptations." I said, "Well, the Temptations, and Barry Gordy, kind of left here. I kind of feel this way about him." His name is Miles, I think Miles London or something. Can't think of him. He was like, young man, and they was like, oh, you said the wrong thing. He said, you know why they left? He said they left because they needed to have access to Hollywood. They needed to make
Yes.
movies. So I got an understanding of what happened because I was kind of bitter about that. I'm kind of bitter about things that leave Detroit. When people leave Detroit, I write them off. But basically, he taught me that things happen that out of our control, but that doesn't stop us from being able to do what we do. He said, matter of fact, on your way out, he said, look at that gold record on the wall. And as I was walking out, it had his name on it. And I realized then that all the things that we have here in our city is something that we can be inspired from. So love your city, love Detroit, love Highland Park. We all connected, and we need to do these things to make our city a much better place.
You hear that? So listen to Brother Ishmael. He's got the right answer. And we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back and talk to Asma about her journey in life. Be right back.
It's time for your company to make the next big step. Hire a knowledgeable, experienced, and connected firm. Mario Morrow and Associates is a trusted media and public relations firm. We understand your vision and your industry. We'll provide strategic marketing, digital and social media, image building, and reputation management. Contact Mario Morrow and Associates, where success rules and results matter. Learn more at mariomorrow.com.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. For only $99, you can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Hi, this is LaWanda.
This is R.J. Watkins.
Coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you. Because healthy is the new beautiful. an all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. Need to get yours today. Call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat right.
Welcome back to Lena's Lane. Just two quick brief announcements before we get into Asma's journey. One announcement is today at Highland Park City Council meeting. The City Council will be voting on an ordinance, a marijuana ordinance, and this ordinance will be giving Highland Park over 34, I think, or more marijuana licenses in Highland Park, and I'm opposed to it because for one reason I'm opposed to it is because I would like to bring art instead of marijuana into Highland Park, and that's one reason. And another reason why is that we don't have enough police to patrol. I have a close friend of mine whose son worked at a dispensary, and he was murdered at a dispensary that was being robbed. Our city is populated mostly with elderly citizens. They really they're not buying any marijuana, so this is like a capitalization move. And just to let the citizens of Highland Park know, we do not need over 30 marijuana licenses here in Highland Park. We maybe need 34 art galleries, but not 34 marijuana licenses. The city is only 2.9 square miles, and we don't have room for that here. Another announcement I would like to make is to make sure if you guys have any books, anything you can help to donate to Asma's collection. She's accepting all visual art books that's mostly African American based. So if you need to send her any of these books, if you have any, you know, sitting around, I happen to have a few of those cocktail table books sitting around, please give them to 225 Connecticut Street in Highland Park, 48203. Please help us build this library for Asma at 225 Connecticut Street in Highland Park. And what I wanted to do right now is talk to Asma about her beautiful journey and how did she start this. How, when you first got to college, were you thinking you were going to do something like this?
Well, no, because I actually went to school for culinary before.
Oh, so you can cook.
I can cook.
Okay, good.
So I knew I went from about maybe age 9 or 10, I wanted to be a chef. That's around when I started cooking. I pretty much taught myself how to cook because I was just trying stuff out. And throughout all of high school, like I just knew that I was going to go to school for culinary. I didn't even apply for any other schools. I only applied for 2 schools, and they both were schools that had culinary programs. Like, I didn't bother applying to any in-state, like Michigan State. I didn't bother applying to any of those schools. So I originally went to Robert Morris University in Chicago, and I was there for about 6 months, and I didn't like it. I like cooking, but I didn't like culinary school because you have to follow the rules. Like, you have to do it a certain way.
Which is also a form of art. I just want to add that bit.
It's true. It is true. But I don't know. I just like cooking my own way. And you have to learn the fundamentals and the basics, but I just didn't feel like I wanted to continue on doing it. I still love cooking. And in my mind, I was like, well, even if I do want a restaurant or something, I don't have to go to culinary school to do it. You can just have a restaurant. So I decided that I would just move back home and that I would just apply to Michigan State and I would go there. I didn't really think about what I was going to major in. So when I got there, I just picked something. So I picked athletic training because it seemed interesting. And I was like, well, it seems like I could make a lot of money being an athletic trainer, and so I decided to major in that. And a semester and a half, I stayed with that major, but I'm not really good at science, so it didn't really go too well in some of my classes. I'm not good at math either, so I ended up doing really poorly in both of those classes in the same semester, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to major in next. I'm not really sure why I didn't go in undeclared when I first got there, but I didn't really think about that as an option. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
I've been there.
So eventually, one of my friends, she was an apparel and textile design major, which is a part of Michigan State's art department. So I thought it was kind of interesting. So I was like, well, maybe I could do that. So I started taking some of the prereqs, which the prereqs for all the art classes are pretty much the same. You take kind of like some basic design courses. You have to take some art history. You have to take a little bit of everything, no matter what major you're going into. So while I was starting to take those prereqs, I came across the art education program.
Right.
And I kind of found, outside of the counselor's office, they had like the little pamphlets with all the majors. So I started looking at it, and I was like, well, this sounds like something that I would be interested in. So I think I ended up, I don't even think I met with the counselor. I just went online and I switched my major. Because I was like, well, I've already taken some of the prereqs, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And when I finally got into my art ed classes, I actually really enjoyed it. We're like, I think maybe it was my junior year, really, when I got into the actual like classes, and we were required to do kind of these Saturday morning art classes. So we had to teach our own students, and we kind of got to do a lot of really interesting things. We had to pick a concentration. So my concentration was ceramics. Not good at ceramics, but it was fun. Like, I enjoyed doing it. It's actually really difficult, like doing ceramics on that like wheel, and it's pretty hard. But I did really like the classes.
It's like trying to put a 45 on without that middle thing. You know what I mean?
You have
about that.
She just aged yourself again.
Do you know about that?
No, she wouldn't.
Okay, we had records, right? There was a 45, and then you had albums, but the 45 had this little circle disc thing that goes in the middle of it. And if you didn't have it, we tried like for hours to try to
keep it
center
still, so it could go around on the needle without scratching the record up.
Without like moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, I liked all the art classes that I was having because I liked doing the hands-on stuff. So I took some sculpture classes. I had to learn how to, do plaster castings and do all these. I was doing a lot of things. I had to take painting. Pretty much in art ed, you had to take the beginning course for every art class that they had because you had to know how to do it. You didn't have to be a master at it, but you had to kind of know the basics if you were going to teach kind of other people how to do it. And I just really enjoyed that class, but I decided that I didn't want to get certified in teaching art education. I didn't really want to teach in a regular classroom setting. And it probably stemmed from that not being something that I had ever experienced. Like, I had art class maybe in kindergarten and first grade, but then I think my elementary school got computer class. So we didn't have art class anymore, but we got computer classes.
They erased the art for computers.
Because my kindergarten teacher was the art teacher. So when I was in kindergarten, I had it because I was already in her class. But once I got to first grade, we would go to her class for our art classes. But then I don't even remember; it was just gone. And when I got to middle school, in high school, I did have performing arts classes. I did dance pretty much from a young age, kind of throughout high school.
But again, you grew up in the DIA, right?
Yeah,
you grew up in the Detroit Institute of Art. That was part of your life.
Well, I did, but I actually didn't spend a lot of time in the galleries. I wasn't interested in art in that way. I never really pictured myself having a career in arts. I was going to be a chef, and that was kind of...
It was kind of your second nature, though.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But I knew I didn't want to be an art teacher in a traditional sense, but my advisor, and they're like, no, you should just go get certified. And what that requires is after you graduate, you have to do a 1-year teaching internship. So that's working for free for 1 year, but you're working full time as a teacher.
Right.
And they recommend like, oh, you can live with your parents. Like, that's how you can. But I was like, well, everybody can't do that. So that doesn't really work, but that's what you had to do. And I think you had to do 1 semester, and elementary and 1 semester in like middle school or high school. But I was like, I don't really want to do that. It seems like a waste of time. And I won't be getting paid for it. So really, it's a lot of work and I don't really want to do it because they're like, well, you should just get the certification. I'm like, it's not, you don't just get it. You
Right.
still have
You
to
still gotta
do everything for it. So I decided that I didn't want to do that, but I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to do. So I was like, I'll just go get my master's. So I found a program at NYU and it was art politics. And I didn't really know what that was. Like I read kind of the overview on the website and I kind of looked it over and it kind of came across to me as figuring out, you know, integrating arts and politics and kind of things that, you know, can change the world kind of through arts. So I applied for it and I got in. And I was kind of surprised. I wasn't really looking forward to moving to New York, but I did. And I actually ended up getting a full ride to their program. And it was a 1-year intensive master's program, so it was 18 credits per semester. And I did it. I went and I finished the program, and it was really great. I got to learn kind of a lot of different things in the arts. One class that I had, we were kind of learning about institution building and kind of building your own kind of whatever your interests are. And my professor, her name is Dr. Marta Vega, and she's done.
In New York?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she practices Silicone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know exactly.
she's Puerto Rican.
Yeah,
Yep.
I actually read one of her books, The Altar to My Soul. Oh, my
Yeah,
God, I love her. Yes,
she's great.
That's
She was
awesome.
great. So
Yes,
she's a
shout out to
professor.
Marta.
She's
Yes.
a professor in that arts politics department. I think she's still in it.
She's actually the reason why I practice what I practice because of that book. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's great. So
I would like for you to introduce me to her. Please, let's go to New York. I'll drive.
In her classes, she would bring in a lot of different people that worked in the arts in different capacities, just so we can kind of hear what they're doing, kind of see some of the work they've done. And she actually, with kind of another group of kind of parents that she was kind of working with,
She
they
has a whole
started.
center, right?
Yep, she has it's CADI, so the.
I want to do something like that here.
Yes. Yeah, so we had to go there for a class because one of my professors curated a show that was in it. So she was really a really great kind of resource while I was at that program.
We're going to take a quick break and come right back because I want to talk to Asma about this. I didn't know about that. And we'll be right back in a second. Thanks.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. For only $99, you can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Hi, this is LaWanda.
This is R.J. Watkins.
Coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you, because you know healthy is the new beautiful. An all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. And to get yours today, call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat right.
Hi, excuse me, do you have anything for pain?
Straight down that aisle.
All right, thank you.
Young lady, this here's what you need.
Ringmaster?
Ringmaster rubbing oil.
How does it work?
By promoting circulation since 1950. Massage it in for best results.
Ringmaster took care of my back pain.
Ringmaster got rid of my knee pain too.
Wow, it sounds like I'm late to the party. I'll take one.
Find Ringmaster at CVS, Davis Drugs, and other fine stores.
Okay, before we left this last time, we was talking to Asma about her journey in college, and then I got so excited when she was talking about Professor Marina Vega. And well, one thing I want to ask you, Asma, is about the place here in Highland Park. There's a young man, right?
Yes.
His plan. Tell us about his plan and what he wants to do with the house that you're using now for the visual arts library.
So I'll tell you as much as I can. Like, he would be able to tell you so much more, and he has so many really great plans, but his name is Tony Rave. He is an artist in Detroit. He's actually, I think, well, he had an exhibition that just closed recently at the Detroit Artist Market. I actually think he has a mural that's up somewhere. It might be somewhere in Eastern Market. But he is doing a lot of really cool things, but what he really wants to do is create a space for Black artists, because he feels like that in Detroit they don't really, have anything like that for the Black artists that are living there. So he wants to turn this house that he has purchased in Highland Park into really a space that artists can be nourished, and that's really kind of what he says. Like, he wants it to be nourishment.
I love it.
He wants
I
it to
love
be
it.
nourishment for artists, and that even goes to the extent of where, because he's also a chef.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's also a chef, so he wants to be able to provide meals for people, for these artists that, they have somewhere to come, and they can, they have somewhere to work, and they really can help build community with artists. I think he eventually down the line has a lot more plans, but he's really just kind of getting started with building this. And so he gave me the opportunity to use the house for the pop-up as a way to kind of, start activating the space. And also, I think it's kind of helping kind of people get a little bit more familiar with what it is, because a lot of people are coming to the pop-up and they're like, well, what is this space? What is this house? So people are really interested in knowing like what he's going to do next with it. And so that's kind of all I'll say, because I don't want to say anything wrong, or that's not exactly what his vision is. But he has a really, really fantastic vision that'll really help a lot of the Black artists in this area.
And hopefully I'm going to have Tony and Asma come back to the show, because this is so important to me. One of the most important things in my life, like even before politics, even before everything else, I think we need to bring art and music back into our community, because kids who are involved in art and music score higher academically. And on a senior standpoint, my grandmother was 100 years old, and I know she always stayed involved with arts and crafts. She was doing mosaic pieces. She stayed involved, and she kept all her senses to the end. Like, she wanted her change back when you sent her to she sent us to the store and get her pop. She knew exactly how, she was 100 years old and in shape. And I know it's because she stayed more involved with the arts and the music, everything like that. Ish, we've been around this community forever. How important is art and music to you?
It's keeping me here. If I don't wake up and put on a song and be inspired, and what it does to me, I dance. I still dance around my house with music on. During COVID, I'll turn the music on for like 8 or 9 hours and just listen to music. So I know it's keeping me alive. It's sending the blood through my system, inspiring me to, want to wake up and change the world. That's my big picture of changing the world. I think you can do it through art. I mean, art therapy, it could be a cliche, but truthfully, it's therapeutic. Music, dance, paintings, all of these things connect with our chakras. It connect with our nerves and our system. So as a people not having it, it's like stripping us of something that keeps our soul alive, and that's not fair. Our city should have all those things back and forth the way we had them from the time I was growing up. So let's bring it back. I don't know who's voting on what proposals. Highland Park, Detroit. Let's make sure that's a focus. It's very much needed.
Oh, you did your job right here. You did an excellent job right here.
Well, this is the talk part.
Right. Now, how do you think we can build a bridge from our generation and this generation? We seen that you did it, but we need to talk to other parents in the community about doing this. What ways do you think we can do? What can we do to change this gap that we have? We need to build that bridge back because it's gone.
I think since it's been taken away, so that means that we have freedom. You know, sometimes when they take stuff away, sometimes they were controlling it anyway, right? So right now we have freedom. Like what she's doing in that home over in Connecticut, that's freedom. With that young brother Tony Rave, that's taking advantage of freedom. So I have freedom now that I didn't have when I was in the institution where they could control me. I did some things at Wayne State where I would bring artists over there to perform and different things, but that was controlled in a controlled environment. As artists and as people of color in a city like Detroit and Highland Park, we have to start doing the old school way things, setting up dance shops, doing talent shows, inviting people to come out and see, like, you know, street performers. It has to go back to the root level to where we can see that it's needed and loved. Like seeing street performers, I used to stand and watch a street performer for like hours just sitting in front of, you know, downtown Detroit. So what we have to do is go grassroots again for the arts. I mean, politics, grassroots, everybody's trying to, like, you know, step in positions to take care of us, you know, from the state on down. But as it goes for art, it has to be really grassroots because the need for it has to be shown.
Right.
You know, they have to really realize that people will actually spend money. So it's a capitalist country we live in, so they want to see if it makes money. But to take it away to me is almost like some sort of genocide. So it's another side to that I believe that we should be aware of, that taking it away from us, make us where that they say that the railroad station from school, elementary school to prison, the pipeline, that's where you can be. That's where that can work at, because in between there's no art. There's nothing to keep these kids from going down that pipeline. From playing an instrument, I played the trumpet, marched in Thanksgiving Day Parade. I still remember all of those things, marching behind the horses and trying to play my trumpet.
I played the baritone sax. You know how big that was?
While the horses would drop, you know, lumps of
in front of you at the parade.
While you're marching, cold, windy, freezing.
Yes.
But that experience I will never forget. I'm getting goosebumps right now because Southwestern had a program that we connected with Persian High School to be in a parade. Just the things that they took away from the public schools should not be the end all. Like, I'm still here. I still talk to people like yourself, and just having this beautiful daughter that just warms my heart because she's going to do the things that that we could not, you know, really have the opportunities to do. So we must back her and back the young people like her, Tony Rave and all these young kids and all these artists that's in Detroit. Understand that if you give back, the next generation is going to have it. So it has to be generational now. We can't really wait for the state. We can't really wait for a lot of funds that are not going to come to us. It could, maybe, if we figure out how we get them to be involved in it. But right now, it needs to be grassroots. Like what she's doing is grassroots. What I'm doing is grassroots. So I think that's the beginning. Everyone, you believe in art, and if you believe that art is going to help you out, if you have an artist around your house, a young kid or a daughter or someone who hasn't had an opportunity to do it in school, start promoting it on your social media. Start bringing it out. Let's get it popping in the streets of Detroit.
Let's collaborate. Now that's from your stance, for our generation.
Yes.
I'm not going to talk about how old we is. But from your generation, what do you want to see changed in our community as far as art?
For me, I feel like a lot of people around my age, I feel like they're doing it. I feel like they're kind of finding their own kind of avenues to really do these type of things. Even like Tony, like he started in this house. Like, we didn't know each other. We just connected through social media because he saw the library and he reached out. He was like, "You should do a pop-up at this house that I have." So I was like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So there are a lot of people out there trying to figure it out on their own, trying to do it. And I do think that they're figuring out ways. They're figuring out how to get that funding. They're figuring out how to get those grants. I think using I think it's the internet. Like, we just figure out everything. We can figure out everything kind of on our own. So I think people are motivated to really go do it. And I feel like a lot of people my age, they're motivated.
I think that we're very privileged to have you here today,
yes, sir,
as well as you, Ishmael Walton.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Lena's Lane, WHPR TV 90 Comcast 313watkins.com. Come back and check us out next Monday. You guys have a powerful evening.
Thank you.